I'd like to introduce the committee that is working. As I said, I'm Deb White. I teach in Orono, just up the road. This is Jamie Ela, a new last name, from RSU 74, and she's my co-chair. And we have Jason Bersani on the committee who works with the Winslow Public Schools, Teresa Hiltz of Clinton Elementary School, and Jessica Dutton of, I can never pronounce this school. The one in Dover Foxcroft, I'll just say it that way. So to get to the excitement part of the award winner, and we do know her name because it's right behind me. And I didn't know whether he was going to make it, and he does only have 2 minutes. Yeah. Mr. Jim Chassie, the principal of Orono High School, is here to introduce the candidate. The award winner.
Thank you so much. I wasn't sure I was going to come. I wasn't feeling that well, but and then I said I can't miss it because I'm very proud for Shauna Goodall. I've known Shauna for 7 years. She's a social studies teacher at our school. Is completing her certificate of advanced study at the University of Maine in Ed Leadership. Is a social studies teacher, as I mentioned, but she's an AP Human Geography teacher. Last year she had our highest enrollment, a record enrollment in AP Hugo. At Orono, we have, as every school, I guess, many bright students, but we allow our freshmen to tackle an AP Human Geography class, and she is the recipient of those students. Very, very challenging to teach that level to that grade level of student. Shauna has, hi Shauna, how are you? Good. Shasha has a, I'm just gonna be a little personal if you don't mind. That's her, who calls you that? Your niece. Yeah. She has an IT background, understands the networks, hardware, software integration, classroom integration, helps manage our Gmail domain server, all of our mail lists, that sort of thing. Our other servers is a go-to for our student information system and other district file servers. The staff have counted on her for years, sometimes maybe even to the extent of taking her for granted. Well, let's ask Shauna. Shauna must know. She just knows the innards and outards of our technology. Continues to be our MLTI lead teacher. She was a force in starting our school's tech club, our Geek Squad. We have a group of students who help with the repair, installation, upgrade, troubleshooting, and so forth. And we have one student today, he's a senior. He was student of the month last month. He was programming. We have a girl who's battling Hodgkin's lymphoma at our school. And she has a robot, one of those white things you've seen driving around classrooms. And he was configuring that today. And I think providing those type of opportunities for those students so inclined. I saw Jim Moulton. You remember Jordan Fiora was the one I'm talking about. He presented as keynote, I think, at the MLTI. Sean is also our local MEA president. She attends countless meetings, meeting after meeting. She's a support person for our support staff and all of our teachers in our district. She's our National Honor Society advisor. Do you sleep? Shauna traveled to China with me to visit one of our sister schools in China. Ask her about her plane ride sometime. Let's see, she integrates Google global positioning software in her social studies classes, a myriad of apps, video integration, so on and so forth. She drives a sports car, listens to indie punk rock, shoots tequila through a straw.
My parents are here.
Oh, well, you need to learn these things sometime. She usually has a few Cuban cigars before her Frosted Flakes in the morning. She's integrated Skype into her homemade hovercraft. She takes one of those little air lights to school. She flies in every day. She moonlights as an on-call bouncer in the Orono area and finds time to keep her iPhone synced with the cloud. She has UMaine hockey tickets, season tickets, and with her clenched fist pounding against the glass during the game, she asks the smeared face of the newest recruit to just hold the position while she can get a selfie. So I guess what I'm saying is thanks for all you do. Very proud of you. Congratulations.
So that was only partially true. I said my parents are here. Thank you. I was really honored and humbled to receive this award. I'm a third-generation teacher. My grandmother was a teacher for many years. My mother was a librarian, and now me. So teaching in many ways comes naturally. And I want to thank my family, most of them who are here tonight, which is awesome. My two brothers, my mom, my dad, my stepmother, my sister-in-law, and Bradley, my youngest nephew, was here. Bradley. And all my friends who came as well, near and far, and all of you. I want to thank my colleagues who've been so supportive of me, and I don't think take me for granted, but they've been very nice to me over the years and helped me out. And I want to thank my students as well, because without them, none of this would happen. They are very familiar with me, hearing me say, this is either going to be an amazing success or an epic failure. And we usually come out with an amazing success. Finally, one group of people who I would not be here today without would be my teachers. I went to Richmond High School, a small school in southern Maine or central Maine, depending on where you geolocated. So I'm a product of Marcia Bucher, Richmond Junior Senior High School. And I know sometimes small schools get a bad rap, and sometimes people think that all Richmond is known about is soccer. But I am here to say that those teachers, K through 12, taught me to be inquisitive, taught me the meaning of play, and taught me the meaning of hard work. And without them, I would not be here today. I certainly stand on their shoulders, the shoulders of giants. I stand next to giants that are my colleagues and all of you here. And without any of you, I would not even remotely be in the running for this award. My students told me today that I simply do what is right, that I listen to them, that I include them in what their education is, and I ask their opinion, and that is the important thing. And they said that I was deserving and I should be a model. And I said thank you, which I don't think we say enough to our students. The final little thing I'd like to say is I think we are always constant advocates for our students, and we are the loud voice shouting in their support, in their defense, for them, for their needs. I think that we need to be advocates for ourselves as well. I think teachers and technologists need to be the ones that shout out, we are doing important work. We are the ones who knows what happens in the classroom. We are the ones who have the input. We are the ones that need to be at the table. So I challenge all of us here, myself, you, friends, family, parents, grandparents, fellow educators, to be the voice for ourselves, to shout out, we have important knowledge and we know what happens in our classroom and we know what is right for our students. And let's show it through technology. Let's show it through our voice in Augusta. Let's show it through our voice in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much. All right.
I'm the short one. And this is what Shauna has won. We are a superhero. And she is the superheroist of superheroes. An A for ACTEM and Achieve Award.
Nice.
A power mask that we'll save for later. Put her power wristbands too. She also has a plaque from ACTEM with the new Achieve logo and ACTEM commends highly innovative educators that value excellence, and she gets a she gets a personal award of $2,000 and a $1,000 award for the school that she gets to choose how it's spent at the school. It's not for the next trip to China, I'm just saying. So. All right. But wait, there's more. Not a puppy though, that I teased her this week.
As part of the revamping of the new ACTEM Achieve Award, it also includes the recognition of the Making It Happen Award, which is an ISTE award. The Making It Happen Award honors outstanding educators and leaders who are committed to transforming education through innovative technology integration. This internationally recognized program identifies visionaries around the world who cultivate connected, empowered learners in all schools. The International Society for Technology in Education, ISTE, and its affiliates have presented this award to more than 500 worthy leaders since the program began in 1995. This award celebrates something that's very important: those innovators who demonstrate extraordinary commitment, leadership, courage, and persistence in improving learning opportunities for students. These are people who apply available technology now, move forward and don't look back, see students as real people, teach through relationships, inspiring, encouraging, and nurturing, recognize that further change is necessary, but understand that it is a process, realize that teacher empowerment is a key element to technology integration, expect success, and motivate through awareness and access to information. The winners will receive an exclusive Making It Happen jacket, which I got an email from the ISTE contact. They have just updated the jacket and wanted Shauna and everyone else to know this is one of the first ones being handed out. She's also presented with the award from ISTE.
All right.
And a one-year ISTE membership and recognition within ISTE. So it's nice. I didn't know what Shauna was going to say today, but I think the list of things that we just read that this represents went completely with what she wrote, and it was kind of interesting to know that she didn't see this beforehand and I didn't see her speech. So perfect. Thank you.
And next up, we have another award tonight, and Michael Richards will tell you a little bit about it.
Okay, now we want to shift gears. We've heard about excellence in education for 1 year, but now we want to talk about a lifetime achievement award. John Lunt Friend of Technology Award was started in 2006 as a way of recognizing individuals who have made a significant contribution to education and technology in Maine. This year's honoree is Bob Sprinkle. To best speak about Bob's contribution, I'm going to turn this over to Alice Barr and Cheryl Oakes. So Alice and Cheryl, can you come on up and tell us a little bit more about the award winner tonight? While they're coming up here, one thing that you do need to, that people should be aware of is we do not give the John Lunt Friend of Technology Award every year. This is something that comes up every year at our summer retreat, and we discuss who might be eligible, who's made a lifetime contribution award. And when Bob's name came up, it was a resounding absolutely yes. There was no second thoughts about it. But now I'm going to turn it over to Alice and Cheryl to talk a little bit more about it.
Prep for a minute.
Yes, you just need a couple minutes to, well, no, 1 minute to prep. Yes.
Paper. We don't use paper anymore.
We're glad that you're all here tonight to be part of this.
We should introduce ourselves, Cheryl. Nope, thank you. Can you see that?
No, just put it right up there. There we go. Okay, so we're going to introduce a little bit more about the John Lent Award, and we should introduce ourselves.
Yes, we should.
Okay, I'm Cheryl Oakes, and we're in Bangor, Maine tonight.
And I'm Alice Barr, and we both are part of a team of 3, which is the Seedlings, and Bob is watching us from afar. So
Everybody wait for Bob. Hey, Bob. Great. So Michael told you a bit about the John Lent Award, and the John Lent Friend of Technology was established by ACTEM in 2006 as a way to recognize individuals that have made a significant contribution to education and technology in Maine.
the award is named after him because he was one of the founding members of ACTEM. And John served as president of ACTEM for 6 years and also chaired our annual Maine Education Conference for over 10 years. John Lunt and former Governor Angus King were the first recipients of the Friend of Technology Award in 2006. Mr. S, his superpower is student scholars.
For those of you who have yet to meet Bob Sprankle and want details about all that information, it can be found at bobsprankle.com, or you can Google him, and in 43 seconds, faster than a speeding bullet, there will be 101,000 hits that you'll be able to read about.
Bob Sprankle is a pioneer in the world of education technology. Early on, he understood that student voice and technology were a powerful mix for learning. He is passionate about how technology positively impacts students and learning.
Bob always thought the lines between online and face-to-face conversations were blurred because meaningful conversation can take place miles apart or face-to-face. Kern Kelly said, my favorite quote from Bob was when Vicki Davis was speaking at the ACTEM conference, and he said how driving with her to the conference that morning, at one point he reached over to turn up the volume because he wanted to hear her better, only to see she's in the back seat.
The year Bob co-won the ACTEM Teacher of the Year, he used his award to purchase audio equipment for podcasting. His students were writing newsletters at the time. Bob wondered if he could make an audio version of those newsletters. He saw the opportunity that technology could bring to his students to leverage their learning. He says, the students just saw that this was part of their work. They had already found purpose to everything they were doing. They had listeners, and this was part of learning. People engage with you and carry on the conversation.
Faster than a speeding nanosecond, the scholars of room 208 sent breaking news over the airwaves and into homes and classrooms around the world. The 3rd and 4th graders went from being consumers to producers at light speed fashion. Technology helped Bob amplify their voices from Wells, Maine, to a global audience, something that had never been done before. These students went from being consumers of content to producers of multimedia.
Bob's teaching style supported putting his students in charge of their learning. He believes that students are superheroes, perfectly capable of creating, editing, and producing. He views them as authentic artists and authors whose work is to be valued and shared to a wide audience. For example, the superhero scholars blocked poetry and artwork in a safe space created by Bob. He instituted protocols that are still in use in many classrooms around the world today. And, oh yes, This was all before Google.
We would like to introduce Zoe Sprangel, and she is going to read from a very important blog post that Bob made, and we turn it over to Zoe.
Hello. So this piece is called Room 208 Comes Home, and it comes from a blog post my dad wrote in 2012. It was, in short, one of the greatest nights of my life. 12 of them came, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. I really had no idea how many were coming, or even who was coming. I thought that they would plan this all out on a Facebook event that one of the students had set up. I was wrong. Instead, they shouted out to each other in the high school hallways. They made plans the old-fashioned way by using phone calls, not texting, but actual phone calls. Students from my old Room 208 class created a Room 208 reunion with no help from me, and came back to our old room on December 4th, 2012 to make one more podcast. The conversation is about an hour long, which was way too short and not nearly enough time in my opinion. There were so many more questions I wanted to ask them. There were so many more memories I wanted them to share. There was so much more about the media tools that they were using that I want to investigate. But these are, after all, high schoolers. They had places to be. I realized I was treated to something rare, reconnecting with students that I had as 3rd and 4th graders, having a gathering years down the road in our actual old classroom. This is not something that many teachers get to do. It was nothing less than magical as I got to witness the amazing young adults they have become. These students are and will forever be my heroes. I have no doubt that they are going to be the leaders and the change makers we need in the near future. We began by reading the excerpt about them from Alan November's new book, Who Owns the Learning? Preparing Students for Success in the Digital Age. They enjoyed the fact that people are still writing and talking about their work, and loved that their section was called How the Students of Room 208 Conquered the World. But they received the acclaim with modesty, as I remember them doing when they were 3rd and 4th graders. And reporter after reporter descended upon them, showering them with headlines and radio and television interviews. We then dove into a conversation that became more and more salient as the hour passed. I've included some of their quotes of what they remembered from our Room 208 podcasting days, along with thoughts and discoveries from the discussion. It kind of revolutionized our classroom because it was like the first time that we got to do something technologically advanced. We were doing something cool and making headlines and stuff. We knew what we were doing, and it gave us skills that we could use later on in life. It taught us to be creative and explore the world around us to find out what was going on. It gave us the opportunities to learn new things and figure out for ourselves how to write or how to set up something, or find out what we're good at or find out what we enjoy and put our hearts into it. It helped me talk to people. We learned how to work in groups and take responsibility for our own projects. And that carries through to everything, especially in today's world where so many people are working in groups. We do so many group projects now, and I really think that it gave us an advantage learning how to take leadership roles and really push to get projects done. We had to write each of the podcasts ourselves, so all the writing content came from our brains. I believe it helped with my writing skills because we had to do it all ourselves and we really didn't have help from you. It improved us all as writers because we had to do this on our own, and it was just so much more writing than most 4th graders were doing, and we knew that other people were going to be hearing us, and so we worked harder than we would have if it was just for the school. I remember our class motto, do our best. Wow, that's all I can say. Wow. Again, it was one of the greatest nights of my life.
And Jody Brenneman, Bob's wife.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here to speak on behalf of my husband, Bob. So traveling back in time from the reunion that the kids had from 208 and 2012, I just want to share with you a memory that I have. Back in 2005, it was April vacation. It was a beautiful vacation, and Bob was a runner back then. And he came back from a run, and as typical when Bob came back from a run, he had a lot to say. I don't know what happened out on those fronts, but his mind started churning. So either he would tell me the latest novel he was writing, or maybe the new song lyrics to a song he was crafting. But this time, I'll never forget it, because he came back and through his huffing and puffing, he said, "Jody, I know how to totally transform my classroom." And so when we went back to school after that April vacation, that's when he started podcasting with the kids. All April vacation, he dedicated himself to learning more and more about how he would do that. And it really did change and transform. And even though Bob can no longer be in the classroom, I'm amazed at his ability to transform over and over again. And so now I'm talking as Bob. I wish I had a hat or something, or his glasses to signify that it's now him. Okay, hi, now this is Bob talking again, this time through my wife. How cool is that? Let's savor this moment, shall we? And wow, since this is being taped, there will be no argument later when we reflect on the sentence that she's going to read next. Boy, that new iPad Pro sure would look good on Bob. I have the best wife. So why am I getting this award? When Michael called and told me they were awarding me the John Lunch Friend of Technology Award this past summer, I spent a half an hour trying to talk him out of it. Why on earth should this be given to me? I'm still shaking my head and asking that question. But since the bar is closing soon, I guess I should stop asking and start trying to figure it out. I think the answer is, I got lucky. Back in 2005, I had heard about podcasts. I started listening to them, and then I had this crazy idea. What if my students made a podcast using their own writing for material? Wouldn't this make their writing better? And I thought, why have students write anything unless there's a real audience? And why write anything unless it has real meaning to the student? It's all about the student. Again, it sounds simple, but the disruption that was and is needed is to allow students to create authentic, meaningful work that has purpose, to create work that has sustainability, to communicate with others globally, take control of one's own learning path, change the world, become changed. So my thank yous first and foremost go to my students. They did this, not me. And my second thank yous go to all of you. Encourage, guide, and get out of the way. You people taught me this. To list all of the names of people who made me a better teacher would take forever, and of course would extend way past this room. But I have to give a special shout out to two of my buddies, my partners in crime, my sisters who brought me into ACTEM and SEED and MLTI in the first place, Alice and Cheryl. Please, if you would, give them some applause. I could speak for an hour just with thank yous alone, but again, the bars are closing. So again, I deeply thank every single one of you and leave you with just this last bit of advice from the late, great Yogi Berra. If you see a fork in the middle of the road, immediately bring it to your IT person and report that we've been hacked. Thank you all so very much.
There's something up there on the table, Michael? Okay, all right. So we also have, they left the stage, but we have the award for Bob. That's the John Lunt Friend of Technology Award to Bob Sprankle. And it is for dedication of time, energy, and enthusiasm, support of Maine educators and students for his commitment to the advancement of teaching and learning with technology. A groovy mask and armband. We will have him sporting this later on, right? And his cape is on the robot over here. So, thank you very much.
And then we also have jackets for you guys, so you can become true ACTEM members.
And with that, we close the awards ceremony. We want to thank everyone for being here tonight, and we are looking forward to a great day too. So thank you one and all. Have a great evening.